Welcome back. The Christmas madness may be over, but believe it or not, January can bring with it a host of new challenges, with many people at risk of experiencing exhaustion and burnout.
So, how can we keep on top of those New Year's resolutions without running ourselves into the ground? Health and wellbeing expert Elizabeth Whelan is joining us this morning with some helpful advice. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hi,
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Let's start with putting a definition on burnout, because quite often we're going around going, I'm exhausted, I'm worn out. Is that what burnout is?
Yes. Well, burnout has been defined as physical, mental and emotional exhaustion.
Okay.
And it's
triple
really,
whammy.
it is a triple whammy. And it's really from long-term exposure, prolonged exposure to stress. And that's what it's all about. We have all these stresses outside in the world, and they really are all our external forces that are creating stress. And that stress reflects in our body and in our mind. So there's 5 levels of stress that there can be. Those 5 levels are the honeymoon, the onset of stress, chronic stress, then you've burnout, and then you've habitual burnout. So we've all experienced these, and some people are in burnout all of the time. So if you think about burnout is when the body goes into a fight or flight response. So when we're in a fight or flight response, it means that all the hormones, everything in your body is on overdrive. So it's like leaving your car running 24/7. And that has its effects on you physically and mentally and emotionally. So it's affecting us on all levels, really.
Interesting that you're putting a definition and you're coining a phrase by calling it burnout. So many of us perhaps experience these emotions and don't realise that we are in this zone of burnout.
Absolutely.
You're saying it's happening every January, perhaps more than the rest of the time of the year, but you can be stressed any time of the year.
Oh, absolutely, Laura. I mean, stress is part of our life now, even for children. It's a stressful life we're living in. The hustle of life is mad. And we want everything. We want the nice houses, we want the great jobs, we want lovely cars, we want holidays abroad, but that's bringing pressures on us all of the time. So our first step really to help us with that is to be aware that I am in burnout or I am having stress issues. That's the first step in the change. And once you get that awareness, look, this has to stop. I can't keep going like that. And that's what I love about Christmas time, even though it's a pressurized time with, our work, with our personal lives, with finances. For a lot of people, it's a huge problem. It's a time too that we take time to reflect on our life, because we have that little week or a few days off. We step back from our life and we say, hey, I like this sitting down, looking at a movie, relaxing, having more time with the family. So it's time really that we stop and reflect. And when we do reflect, maybe that's the time then to say, okay, what tools or techniques can I put in place to make my life less stressful? And that's what I like about Christmas time personally. But as you say, Laura, stress, it comes all year round. There's no time for stress.
Yeah, a lot of us tend to feel or want to feel in January, it's new year, new me, and I'm going to approach it all with great zest, and I'm invigorated after Christmas, which is quite often not the case.
Yes.
So how can you go about improving? Because most people can't get off the merry-go-round. They can't cut back. They can't slow down. So how do you begin to manage burnout?
So it's to understand burnout, first of all, that it has a phase, that you have a beginning, a middle and an end. Like stress, when we're dealing with stress, like digestion in our body, it has a beginning, a middle and an end. So the first is the beginning, to become aware, yes, I am stressed out, or I'm at burnout stage where I'm not sleeping. Sleep has become an epidemic, and sleeplessness has become an epidemic in the world. That's a completely another topic that we could talk about all day.
But it is a big factor in burnout.
But it's a huge factor in burnout, because if you're not sleeping, you're not regenerating. Your body cells are not renewing, recharging, regenerating. Therefore, you're never getting downtime. I mean, even our computers, even though they can be hell for us at times, because now work comes home with us. We don't have a 9-to-5 job anymore. We all bring our work home with us. Those computers even go into hibernation and switch down. They know they need to clean up, to recharge, renew. We should be the same. But unfortunately, we are doing so much. And we're doing so much, all of us, and yet we accuse ourselves of not doing enough. We never seem to get to that work-life balance unless we have guidance and awareness that, okay, I need to stop and reflect on my life, get a better work-life balance. What can I do? The first thing when you're in fight or flight, the hunter-gatherer, when he was in fight or flight, he ran away from the tiger. We need to exercise. That's the first thing. So when we exercise, we de-excite the central nervous system. And it can be any type of exercise. It doesn't have to be going into the gym and pumping iron. You can do your light yoga. I do energy exercises every morning just to charge my body up, to wake myself up, to get ready on the day. Morning is hugely important for us all. A lot of people jump out of the bed and pull themselves into life. Actually, a win in the morning is a win for the whole day. So your morning little routine is great. To get yourself up in the morning, do a little bit of exercise. Sleep we've already mentioned. How do we fuel our bodies? We fuel our bodies with food. So food is hugely important. If you're eating rubbish food that isn't charging your cells, renewing your cells, that's not going to fuel you with energy. Hydration is another thing. When you go into fight or flight, one of the first things that happens is your digestion becomes acidic, and that acid goes into every cell in the body, every bone, every muscle. The muscles tense. Your heart rate goes up. So when your body becomes acidic, we know from all the research all over the world, that's when disease sets in. Disease and disease. So we need to address all of our food, our choices in food, and our water intake to hydrate yourself. You know, you guys here with this heat and the lights and everything, you know, you need to be hydrating your body 24/7.
Aidan mentioned it's not that easy for people to step off this merry-go-round of life with jobs, balancing families and so on. And with it, the new year usually comes the same old routine. So is a little bit of stress good for us? And how can we continue to do all of the jobs and have all of our responsibilities covered, but not become burnout?
Great
Burned
question.
out, rather, by the end of the year.
Yeah, great question, Laura. So the first thing, as I say, is awareness, is having the awareness. And then is to prioritise. Look at your task, what you need to do, and prioritise those tasks. Often we find we think we have to do everything, but actually we don't have to do everything. Get more control in what you have to do, and then prioritise those issues where what you have to do. Also make lists. I'm a great woman for these little booklets. You can pick up these in any stationery shops, even the pound shop, euro shops. These are great because I sit down on a Sunday night of a very busy life and I do out all my tasks for the day. So I schedule my life.
And now, it's really quite simple, but it's very effective when you can just visualise it.
That's right.
And start with the most urgent, as we saw as a tip there. Get the hard one out of the way.
Exactly. And there will be days where you don't meet all your needs.
Sure.
But that's normal.
But don't beat yourself up over that either.
We're human.
Yeah.
I keep bringing back to people when I'm coaching, saying, look, we are human beings. We are trying to juggle all of these balls. But it's just to be easy on yourself. And also, don't forget and delegate. We forget. We can delegate. I remember when I was doing my training management years and years ago, the one thing our trainer said to us, please, a good manager is a good delegator. And we tend to feel we're weak if we delegate, but we're not showing signs of weakness. We're actually showing signs of authority when we delegate, which is so fantastic, you know?
Okay, so offload, if you can, some of that responsibility. And stop beating yourself up if you're not achieving what you want to achieve.
Now, there are some times when our brain gets stuck in burnout. And if that is a case that any of your viewers are feeling they are burnt out and they can't see the wood for the trees, it may be a case they need some interim help with that. They might need professional advice, cognitive behavioural therapy, EFT, emotional freedom therapy, or it may be medication for short term.
And all those services.
But again, address that if it
available.
needs to be done. You know, address that. Don't be afraid to address that
because
stress.
you can overcome it.
And
you can
talk,
fix it.
Exactly, and talk to people. You know, have your buddy, have your friend that you can speak with. Socialisation is a huge help in all of this as well. We outline socialisation as being very important for burnout, to feel you're part of a team, to feel people are there for you, to feel you can be listened to.
Okay.
That's a huge factor
Good
as well.
advice. We will try and take it on board.
Yes.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're very
Elizabeth.
welcome.
Really interesting. Love
You're
chatting
very
to you
welcome.
this morning.
We never got to talk about our goals and everything, but if anybody else wants to hear more about burnout and reaching their goals in 2020, I'm doing a masterclass with wonderful Image magazine. They're beginning their entrepreneur masterclasses as well, motivating everybody in Ireland in the Westbury Hotel. And the first kick-off is my masterclass on the 22nd of January, and the tickets are on Eventbrite. Thank you very much. And as I say, make it a great day.
Lovely. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You make it a great day.
welcome.
We'll try and make it a great day. Thank you,
Thank you.
Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Cheers.